Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, PD, back with another Carlisle Cult Cinema Club, and I'm joined with. We've had a barrage of stars, and we've got another one. I'm joined by YouTube's Cinema Snob, behind 715 episodes. He's got 273 IMDb credits. Stone Gremlin Productions is his thing. I've just watched another Cinema Snob Movie, which is an absolute cracker. It's like a comedy horror road movie, Scooby Doo cartoon. All it's missing is I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you damn pesky kids. And I'd like to welcome Bradjones, aka the Cinema Snob. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here too. I actually didn't know that's cool that you mentioned that. I didn't know how many episodes I had, honestly. 715. I'm like, damn. I used to kind of keep track of it when I would do like anniversary episodes, like now here's the 300th 400th episode, all those. Somewhere along the way I just kind of stopped counting. I wasn't sure how many episodes I had at this point.
That's
um
according to what my research is. You've got 715 episodes to your name.
715. I wasn't sure how many. I knew I had a lot of IMDb credits. I wasn't sure how many of them there were, but 215 is pretty good. I've probably
273 credits.
273. I've probably only seen about 20% of them.
And that's writing, thanks to um, self. That's, all combined, but still, it's better than my three or four that I've got.
It's pretty good. I'll Sometimes I'll look at it. I'll like to kind of test myself to see if which ones on there I don't really remember. And there are some. I've got Cinema Snob episodes I've completely forgotten about. And I recently I had to double check one. I was putting together a Halloween compilation. And I knew that there was a movie called Halloween Puppy. Like I knew it was a David Dakota thing, but I couldn't remember if I did an episode on. Yeah,
By the way,
I
you can
couldn't remember
swear
if
if
I
you want as
did an
well.
episode. I was like, did I do an episode on a Halloween puppy? I could not remember, and I looked it up, and turns out I did, and I just like remember nothing about it.
Halloween puppy, that's brilliant. By the way, you can swear as well. There's we have, we're not
Perfect.
PC, we're not woke, so swear away. If you want to
Excellent.
do body shots and smoke
Body
bongs,
shots.
do it.
Put
You go for it.
I'll put my Screwballs poster behind me.
That's it. That's it. Can't lie. Screwball's great film. Yeah. So it's an honour to have you here, Brad.
Thanks for
Um,
having me.
it's a film geek from across the pond, and you're a bit younger than myself, um, but I'm sure. I mean, your experience over there with video shops and stuff like that. I'm imagining you just grew up in a video shop.
Yeah. Yeah, I was born in 81. So oh yeah, like and plus combination of born in 81, so yeah, video stores are very much still a staple then. Factor that into with being from the Midwest in central Illinois, video stores were still a thing around me until 2020. Like
Right.
it was COVID that shut down. We had all these family videos still. Family Video was still up and running, and we would still go there and everything. But during the shutdown and everything, like, oh, that's finally what did it. And then there weren't any more family videos anymore. So there were certain chains that were still a big staple here for a really long time. But yeah, I most certainly grew up going to video stores.
Like myself, I mean, I was there kind of when it all started kicking off in England,
Yeah.
late 70s, early 80s. And even before we had a video player, I was I was in a video shop just picking up the covers and, you know, seeing what can I,
So
you know,
you got to experience the video nasties.
I got to experience, yes, and I love them.
For sure. Yeah.
I've just completed the 72 on VHS, collecting them on
Oh,
the
that's
original
really cool.
VHS.
Nice.
So I've got all the original 72, and then for October, I watched all the 72 and
Hmm.
reviewed them all.
Oh, that's very
And
cool.
let's just say there's about 10 hours of my life I'll never get back.
What was the worst?
Oh, God. You know something? My brain melted towards the end. Um, there was some, I mean, Cannibal Terror was pretty bad.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Cannibal Terror. Yeah, that one's there's a reason that isn't talked about as much as Holocaust, Ferox, all of those.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to think what else was just. I just thought that's another one. Mardi Gras Massacre
Oh, Mardi Gras
was
Mass.
was, uh, it was partly enjoyable in parts, but it's just a
Sure.
blood feast remake,
Yeah, I know what you mean about
basically.
when you kind of get towards the end of something and your brain kind of stops functioning a little bit. Like some of the DVDs that I put out, I have these few like uncut DVDs where I did like exclusive episodes that were like uncensored, and so when I did one of them, and it was like five hardcore movies on it, towards the end, you're sitting there just like, I'm so sick of watching porn right now. And then I did one that was all Nazi exploitation movies, and that was even harder because you watch them individually and whatever, but you watch about five of them back to back. It really was like watching the same movie over and over again.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And some of them are, you know what I mean? I mean, what was it? The American one, is it SS Experiment Camp? No, Love Camp. There was one that was
Oh,
made in America about 1969.
the Love Camp 7.
Yeah, Love Camp 7, which was one of the first, if not the first. And it's so bad.
That one I didn't do one on, but I did one on one that had like a similar title. It was like probably like SS Love Camp 47 or something, is something like that, where it was like a slight variation of the title of the other movie. I did on that DVD, it was that one, it was God, what even She Devils of the SS, I think was one. There was
Oh, Isla,
what's that?
the Isla movies, She Devils of the
Oh,
SS.
Ilsa.
Ilsa, that's it.
Those I did over on the channel. On the DVD, one was like, man, one had John Steiner in and it wasn't Salon Kitty. It was something else. One I this one I there was one called Achtung the Desert Tigers. Like that one stood out. Like it was a little different than the other ones. That and I'd seen it before, honestly, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. Where there's a great part where like the light tower has its own like musical stinger sound effect, and it shows it a lot. Yeah, I remember like towards the end of that one, of that collection of episodes, just me sitting there going, I can't remember if I've made this joke before because it is like I'm watching the same movie again. I felt like I was maybe repeating jokes, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, but oh, I Miss You, Hugs and Kisses is another which is just terrible.
Yeah.
Why it was on the Nasties list, I'll never know.
Which one?
I Miss You, Hugs and Kisses.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Oh, don't.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
well, actually, to be honest, they're all well worth watching as a piece of history because that's what they are, piece of cinema history because of what went down in good old Blighty.
Yeah.
with the video nasties thing. So they are part of kind of that kind of weird cinema. So they are worth watching, but
Oh,
yeah, some of them are hard slog.
yeah, yeah. Because that was a thing that, here in the States, I didn't really know about that until I was a little bit older. Because it was less so over
Internet and
here.
things like that.
Well, yeah, I think maybe before then. I no, it was probably the internet where I might have first read about that because that didn't really. There were controversial movies here for sure. Ones
Yeah,
certainly like ones that were boycotted, ones that were maybe even taken out of theaters, like I Spit on Your Grave and Silent Night, Deadly Night. There were
yeah,
controversies like that, but in terms of like an actual like list, like you guys had there, like with the video nasties, like an actual list and like these are banned and stuff like that. Not really, other than like, some markets might have it
yeah.
pulled like and things like that. So that was more so the type of thing that would have been on my radar growing up, where it's like, ooh, this had a lot of protests. Silent Night, Deadly Night, movies like that. Oh, of
Well,
course, like for everything that went along on with Deep Throat when that came out.
I mean, Silent Night, Deadly Night didn't even get a video release over here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, didn't get a release. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 didn't get a release.
Yeah, yeah. That's right.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I did see that where there's a lot of them that you guys got like way later. There's ones I run across this in like the early 60s, but that's more so a lot of the skin flicks.
Yeah,
Like some of those would have been pulled and like taken to court, but then after which one was it? Was it not Lucky Pierre? It was the Russ Meyer one, the early Russ Meyer one. The titles are all kind of the same. Like it wasn't like was it like no, it wasn't Lucky Pierre, damn it. It was the one from like it was made in the late 50s, but some theaters got it in 60. It was the one about the guy who he goes to the dentist and when he gets the gas, it causes him to then see through people's clothes. So he just walks around being a peeping Tom.
yeah, do as we would all do. You know, it's something I'd get up to if it was
It
the
was a
same thing.
genre then, man. Like it was you get into the early 60s. That was when that movie got like finally like won like a court case. Then you started seeing like a lot of those different types of movies. Some of
Yeah,
them would like disguise themselves as educational, like nudist camp stuff because they were the white coater. There was also a lot of white coater movies where there's a doctor standing there going like, "Here's what happens when you put this in this," and so like, oh, we can call it educational. But then there was like the peeping Tom genre around that time where it was always like someone is just gets a power to see somebody naked. Like I did an episode on one. It was called like there was one called like wow where a homeless man finds some x-ray glasses in the garbage can and he just goes around like being a peeping Tom. But then this is like the greatest thing that ever happens to him. Like he finds a job, he gets a house, and then at the end it's weird. It's like it has this like it's like also this positive morality tale by the end of it because then he pays it forward and gives the glasses to another homeless
after he made it big, pass it on. You can have the glasses. You can see the boobs and tits and everything else. You know,
man.
split boobs. You name it, it's there, all on show. Fantastic. Oh man, but
I'm I'm
one wasn't.
the
We
the
couldn't get it over here.
the immoral Mr. Tease. That's the Russ Meyer movie. That's it. I was cheating, by the way. I had my phone down here. I'm like, this is gonna kill me. I'm gonna be trying to remember this for the rest of the interview. Mr. Tease, aka
Yeah,
like Mr. Tease and his playthings might have been another title of it. That was the dentist
it's
one.
blessings.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there's no cheating with your phone now and again because I have brain farts and sometimes it's like my phone's there to keep me right.
Oh,
Otherwise,
God,
I'm
I hear
screwed.
you. Yeah, I get those brain farts too. And it's really easy because I blanked on Mr. T's, even though I have referenced that movie so many times in the past
Yeah,
year, whether it's on the live streams, whether it's in the show, but that brain fart
and it
will
just
still
goes
get to you. Yeah.
get
And
you.
you'll be like,
Yeah, that's it. Gets you in the end. You know
uh-huh.
what I mean? Also, I've got to say about I love that your dad was Lloyd Kaufman in another
That
cinema
was cool.
snob movie.
Yeah, he was great. He brought so much to that role. He really did. He it was yeah, we just asked him. We ran into we were talking to his was it his publicist or someone who works for him? But then we do a lot of the same con circuits together and
Yeah, yeah,
everything. So we'd met him before at a previous convention, and then we did C2E2 together. So uh yeah, it was just simply asking him if he wanted to be in it and everything and just working out schedules. He was a blast to work with. Like we hung out quite a bit on there at some of the cons afterwards too. And he brought so much to that character. Like he is great at just improving, definitely. Like he was great at just adding extra touches to all these lines that he had and making it just really natural. And he was fun to play off of against too
yeah.
when we did that scene together. um so yeah, it was it was, if you'd told me like 20 years ago Lloyd Kaufman's going to play your dad in a movie, who knows? I was kind of drunk back then. I might believe it.
Yeah, I know that. That's yeah. It's kind of like with me interviewing folk now. If somebody had told me 20 years ago I'd be sitting on the internet interviewing people who I've chatting
Yeah.
to, the likes of Jim Wynorski and
Wynorski,
David
yeah.
Quantick. Oh, Wynorski's
Uh-huh.
great. Love Jim.
Yeah.
He's great crack.
I would talk to him because, like I said, he worked on Screwballs, which is one of my favorite comedies.
That's right.
I love Screwballs. He did some flicks back then I really liked. I loved Deathstalker too. I thought that was the best one out of all of the Deathstalker movies. I got, yeah, it's crazy how things happen. Like I was asked last week, I was asked if I was available for a role in God's Not Dead 5. Um, and it did that. It was, so what happened was I'd interviewed David A.R. White before, and he's a really, really, really nice guy, and definitely has a sense of humor. And I felt so bad about this. He wrote to me on Wednesday, and it was really like it was like, we would need to fly you out tomorrow and then we would shoot the next day. And he sent it Wednesday. We got a newborn at home, so I saw the message like late Thursday night. I didn't see the message on Wednesday, so I was like, man, if I had checked my messages like a day early. I wrote him back and was like, it'll be cool if we can like try again in the future or something like that. But I would that would be a thrill. Like I was like, man, this is almost in God's Not Dead 5.
Well, maybe you'll be in part six.
That'd be cool. I would do it in a heartbeat. I told him, I go, whenever you guys want me for anything, I'm there. Just let me know. I'll be there.
Fantastic, fantastic. Um, so what's some of your you were saying there about Screwballs being one of your favourite films. What else is up there for the cinema snob?
Favorite movies? Um,
Yeah.
well, there's let's see, Caligula's way up there. That one inspired a lot of stuff that I made afterwards.
Well, I can tell you a story about Caligula and me.
Yeah.
I saw Caligula back in about 1982, 83,
Hmm.
something like that. Early doors. I'll have been about 7 or 8 year old at the time.
Yeah.
Um, and I learned more from Caligula about the Roman Empire than I did at school, and I told the teacher that,
That's true.
and we were in one of these history lessons, and because obviously where I come from, the Romans built the wall to stop Scotland and all that breaking through.
Hmm.
Um, so the Roman thing's a big thing. So, and I started coming out with vomitoriums, and she's like, "Where did you get all this from?" And I told her Caligula, and she wasn't too happy I'd watched it at that age.
Yeah. I was pretty young when I saw it. But yeah, that the Great Race, the Blake Edwards movie, that I grew up with that. That's one of my favorite movies. Saturday Night Fever was a pretty big influence on me. Um,
Snap. Just
what's that?
screened it. Saturday Night Fever. It was a big influence on myself. And I
Oh yeah.
screened it a couple of months back. We just screened it.
Hmm.
Um, and it was a film that I used to get ready to in the 90s when I was going out on the partying with my mates. I would put
Yeah.
Saturday Night Fever on.
Oh, very
It's
cool.
an awesome film.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Um, I've got a lot of stuff of that movie. I've got that collector's like giant Blu-ray that they released that's also got the album in it. I got there's magnets of it on my fridge. Like I've got a bunch of Saturday Night Fever stuff.
God, it's just fantastic film. Travolta, man, and what a
Hmm.
soundtrack!
Oh yeah.
You know, what a soundtrack. I used to back in the 90s when I was slim and looking good. I must admit I thought I danced like Travolta.
I probably I've been drunk and thought that I could dance like Travolta. Then it turns out I cannot. I I directed a movie called Disco and probably had no business directing that because I can't dance. Granted, my character never dances in the movie, so I guess that's good.
No, it's something like it is such a great flick and dark.
Mhm. It is. It's very gritty. It's very true, like realistic to that scene at the
Era,
time.
yeah,
Like it does not hold back. It doesn't pull any punches on it, on the highs and lows of what that life was kind of like for a
yeah.
while, not just the 70s, but for a long while. Um, and no, it's a very frank movie, and I really love it.
No, it isn't. I mean, and it's another movie where New York is as much a character
Hmm.
as Travolta and everybody else. And there was a lot of films that were made at that time, like Taxi Driver and the
Hmm.
likes of where New York, the Warriors, where New
Yeah,
York is this
yeah.
character that
Hmm.
it's not just a place; it's much a character as a character of the film.
Yeah, Death Wish, a lot of those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And Lloyd Kaufman worked on Saturday Night Fever. I think he did some location scouting for it or something like that. But yeah,
Right.
he worked on that. He tagged me in some pictures on it once of him and Travolta on set of that.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. But yeah, I mean, absolutely fantastic film. What else you got then? Favorites?
That darn cat, the Disney movie with Dean Jones and Haley Mills. I grew
Yeah, I
up
know
on
it.
that. It's so fun. It's great. It's funny. I mean, I'm a big cat person anyway, especially Siamese cats. I've had Siamese cats all my life. And so that being like really like the ultimate cat movie and also the ultimate Siamese cat movie too. It's great. And DC the
Didn't they
cat is
remake
he's
it?
just a real character in that. And I love that the villains in it, Neville Brand and Frank Gorshin are the villains, and Neville Brand is great in it because Neville Brand is in this Disney comedy about this like undercover Siamese cat, but Neville Brand is playing it straight. Like he's playing it like he's out of a Kubrick thriller. And he's legit like it's a real threat in the movie. Like, yeah, it's a comedy, but the stakes are high in that film and it
It's
works.
been a long time since I've seen it. Didn't they remake it?
Oh, it's horrible. The remake, yeah, yeah.
I've never seen it. Was it Christina Ricci?
Christina Ricci and Dougie
Never
Doug.
seen it. I must admit.
Christine Christina Ricci, Dougie Doug, Peter Boyle is in it. Thomas Wilson's in it. It's bad. I saw it in the theater. I did. I saw it in the theater. I was on a date when I saw it. I wasn't in the best mood watching that movie.
But did the date turn out okay?
No, we saw that darn cat. Yeah, no, not so much.
All right, fair dues. So what else? What else have you got on your favourites list?
Oh geez, I'll have to look at my IMDb again. Um, let's see, Dumb and Dumber's up there. Uh,
I just spoke to the writer last week. What a
oh,
nice
did you
guy.
really? Oh, cool.
Bennett Yelling, who co-wrote it.
Yeah. Batman
He told us some.
89. Batman
Oh,
89
great
is one of my
film.
favorite movies. Mm-mm.
Saw it every screening the day it was released.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, love Batman '89. It's
Yeah,
just
I saw it
so
in the
good.
theater. Yeah, we saw it. We saw it opening weekend. I don't think we saw it the Friday. Maybe we saw it the Friday. No, I think we probably went on like a Saturday or a Sunday. Because my dad would have been working Friday. Um, but yeah, we saw that at least, yeah, opening weekend at the theater.
Still the greatest Batman as well.
I agree. I do. I liked the Flash movie that brought Michael Keaton back.
Same. I
Yeah.
absolutely. Apart from some of the special effects, which were ropey as hell, I enjoyed the film.
So here's the thing. Like, yeah, I gave it a much higher grade than a lot of other people did. I don't know. It did win me over. It's like, yeah, Keaton coming back was part of that, but I still thought he was used really well in it. And I thought he picked it right up again after 30 years.
Yeah,
And I liked seeing that again, and I thought it was treated pretty respectfully in the movie. As far as the special effects go, I guess I was one of the reviews that didn't mention that a lot because I saw two movies that day. I saw two movies that day. The other movie that I saw was a movie called Adi Perush, and it had like asylum level effects in it. So I guess I just didn't comparatively, I guess the effects in the Flash
yeah,
didn't stand
yeah.
out as much to me. There were some parts of it that I maybe I was tired, but there were some parts where I thought maybe I thought it was a stylistic choice or something like that. So I didn't really notice a lot of that, but then seeing what some people were saying after, I was like, yeah, okay, I guess I can kind of see that. I just saw it back to back with something that had way worse effects that were that were like effects were glitching in it. So
Oh dear.
the Flash looked all right compared to that.
I know. I really enjoyed it, mostly because Keaton was back. Went
Sure.
to the
Yeah.
cinema to see it, and just fantastic. You know, I mean,
Hmm.
I still think that Jack Nicholson's Joker is the best Joker.
I love Jack's Joker. Yeah, I that's a movie. It's one of those movies where if it's on TV and I'm flipping channels, I'll stop and keep it on, even if it's just, something in the background or something like that. It no, but yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's superb. It'll be up there as one of my favourites, if not favourite superhero movie. To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
you know
Oh,
what I mean?
88,
It's
89 is.
89
Yeah.
without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Um,
That one would top my list. Yeah.
you know, the original Superman the movie's up there as well.
That's great. Yeah.
There's
Superman the
just
movie. Yeah, Superman the movie's up there. Superman 2.
yeah.
Um I do love Batman Returns.
Oh yeah, same, nice and dark. Christopher
Yeah,
Walken.
I like it.
You know, and we all, let's be honest, we all had a crush on Miss Pfeiffer.
Yeah. We put that on around every Christmas.
Good Christmas movie.
It really
You know what I mean?
is. Yeah, it does work as a Christmas film.
Yeah. Uh, how are you? Right, we're talking Christmas films. Die Hard, a Christmas movie?
Sure. I mean,
I
yeah,
don't see it as.
it's it is in the sense that it's kind of been put into that category now. So now it kind of just by default is because it gets brought up so much around Christmas.
Yeah.
Um, so it's not in the sense that it wasn't advertised that way. Like
No.
when it came out, like it's not like that was really heavily emphasized in its promotion or really like on the poster or anything like that, really. But there are so the Christmas setting is there, yeah, and it does work itself into the plot. Like, I mean, sure, it's a Christmas party, so that's part of the plot, but also there's music cues in it that are Christmas music cues. There's him writing ho now I have a machine gun, ho ho ho.
Oh,
There's
oh.
the stuff with the Christmas tape. It it does play into the movie to where if someone thinks of it that way, then yeah, it works as one. I get it. Like I get if you put that on at Christmas every year, it works as that because there's enough Christmas in it. But it's certainly not a traditional one by any means. And I don't even mean because of the genre. I just mean like, it wasn't really advertised like that, but it's kind of evolved into that. So I think it's pretty safe to say now that it is just kind of by default, it really is.
But then why don't they put Lethal Weapon in the same?
Lethal Weapon, that is a good question, but also Christmas kind of
Because Lethal
factored.
Weapon's got some music cues
It
in it as
does.
well.
It does. I would say probably more so in Die Hard than Lethal
Yeah.
Weapon. Like, but it's in Lethal Weapon enough that yeah, I could see like you pop it up on Christmas, sure it works because yeah, there's the opening credit sequence. It's playing Jingle Bell Rock. It's the Christmas tree at the end that Gary Busey drives into. I think that Die Hard, the Christmas, there's way more Christmas references in Die Hard. In Lethal Weapon, it kind of goes on a while before you might see a Christmas reference again. Um, so there's just kind of more of it in Die Hard. But no, I
Drug
get
dealer,
that. That is a good question. Hmm.
good drug dealing between the Christmas trees.
What's that?
Drug dealing between the Christmas trees as well.
Oh,
In
there's
Lethal
that. Yeah,
Weapon, yeah. Yeah.
the drug dealing between the Christmas trees. Oh yeah, certainly. And some lines of dialogue and everything.
Yeah, I just it was one of those I just never understood because I've seen them as similar, but I don't see Die Hard as a Christmas film because I can watch Die Hard in the summer.
Yeah, same. I think that's kind of key right there. But again, if someone does I if someone thinks of it as a Christmas movie, I get it. I do. Like if you I think it is a Christmas movie in the sense that there is a lot of people who watch it on Christmas. And it's even
Yeah,
gotten to the point to where there's die-hard Christmas children's books. There's die-hard Christmas shirts. So it really is now. But what you said
they've completely played into it.
but yeah, but what you said is true in that Die Hard and Lethal Weapon I put on in summer, and really
Yeah,
not think anything of it.
yeah. That's my point with it. I can just watch them whenever, and I don't get Christmassy feels. I think a Christmas film's got to have a bit of Santa in it and a bit of Christmas feels and a bit of unless it's a horror. Christmas horrors you can't beat.
Christmas horrors, yeah, like Silent Night, Deadly Night's definitely a Christmas movie,
Oh yeah,
like for sure. I mean, but that's heavily part of its advertising. I mean, it's a guy dressed as a killer Santa Claus. Like Christmas is all over the movie. It's like that is, yeah, it's a slasher, but and I think a really damn great slasher movie.
oh
But
yeah.
but that is definitely a Christmas movie. Christmas Evil, totally a Christmas. I mean, it's in the title, so yeah.
I mean, the Silent Night, Deadly Night films as a franchise, I thoroughly enjoy, and usually watch them every year.
I try to watch the first one a lot. The second one's funny, and Eric Freeman's a really cool guy. So he makes the second one worth watching. Um, the first Silent Night, just even as a slasher movie, is really unique. In how it's structured. Like it's a slasher that's from the point of view of the killer. Like he's the
Yeah,
main character. And the whole first half is setting up to how he gets to that point to where it does become a slasher in the last act. It's a very unique movie. It's original too in how it's told.
yeah.
Um I think it really stands out in that genre.
Oh, yeah, completely. And it was a shame, we never got it in this country, to be
That's
honest,
true. Yeah, yeah.
until much later on, and to the point where the, I mean, the third, three, four, and five weren't called Silent Night, Deadly Night over here.
Oh, where's it? Was it like the Toy Maker and
Yeah, some, yeah, I've got them on
Initiation? That was the
VHS.
fourth one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because they were like their own thing. Like they only like they didn't really tie in that much. They were kind of their own movies. I mean, four is referenced in five, but I mean they don't really factor much into the first three movies.
no,
Um, but yeah, I've done episodes on all of them, on all the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies.
I'll have to have a look at them.
Some of those are old episodes to where like I kind of cringe thinking back to like old episodes.
Ah, hey, you've done it and it's got you where you are, so
No, yeah, it
I'm
is. You
always,
know what? Everybody is like that. Like if you've been doing this for a long time, like I have, everyone's like that. Nobody likes their older stuff. Because there's things that jump out at you like I could put on like an old episode and I might like hate the delivery or think the joke
yeah,
might even be a joke I don't understand anymore. Like, and the delivery might be different, the editing might be different, the quality is not great. Like, it's yeah, it's everybody is like that, especially me because when I first started, I didn't have in terms of acting in comedies, I didn't have a lot of experience acting in comedies. Like I had my comedic influences, sure, and of course I grew up with comedy and stand-up comedy and all that, and it especially Mystery Science Theater, all those things that
mhm,
a lot of our shows are kind of an evolution from. But in terms of like acting, my experience in acting was more so drama. Like I was always a bad guy. Like I was played like a killer or a drug dealer or both. Like I was always playing a bad guy whenever I was in stuff. So in those early episodes of The Snob, it is I had the character in mind. I knew what I was satirizing. I knew what the type of character it was. It's just you
yeah.
still have to like find your voice, find your timing, all that, and that's what a lot of those old episodes are.
You're from what I've read, you're a big James Bond fan as well.
Yeah.
Favorite Bond and favorite Bond film?
So the one that I think I'm a gigantic Her Majesty's Secret Service fan. Um and so that one is one that like even dramatically speaking, I think it's great. It was the first, it really kind of was the first that did really like humanize the character, like in a way that was
Right.
different than Connery would for sure, but like the way that George did, like there were real like kind of human qualities there. Like it had all the cool like kind of badass Bond stuff in it, but then there's those great moments like when he's at the ice skating rink and he actually is pretty like panicked. And you've seen Connery be panicked, yeah, but like the way that George did when he's just kind of sitting there and he legitimately like sort of doesn't know what to do in this scenario until Diana Rigg comes up to him and the music kicks in and it is just like this angel really did appear to him, like this guardian angel. It's a brilliant moment. It's like one of the best moments in the franchise. That along with the ending too is it's a very bold movie, especially at that time. Um, the one that I could go back to easily and watch the most ever since I was a kid is Goldfinger. Goldfinger's a pretty accessible movie, like it is,
Yeah,
and it's that was the first Bond movie that I saw, and it was the first one that, it was one that I watched a lot when I was a kid. As a kid growing up, I probably watched Goldfinger the most. So that one, is probably the most sentimental to me. That's one I could put that on the background anytime. Um, Living Daylights has a special place in my heart. Living Daylights was the first one that I saw in the theater. Um, so that one's pretty sentimental to me because of that. Um, but other than that, I love that License to Kill is a revenge movie. Um, I I love Man with the Golden Gun. I love the pairing of Roger Moore and
yeah,
Christopher Lee. I think that's really cool. I dig the hell out of that one. Thunderball. Thunderball I watched a lot when I was younger too. But that no, that growing up loving On Her Majesty's Secret Service, it was nice to finally see that eventually because it was kind of mixed when it came out. But to see that eventually get so much praise that it is
yeah. It
considered to
does
be one of
now.
the best, like, yeah, that was cool to eventually see that. And even Lazenby get a lot of respect too, because what he does, one, it is a great performance because it's his first real acting role. And for him to do so much stuff right in that movie, he really pulls it off. There's parts where like you could see if he had kept going, his some of his comedic timing could have been improved. Um,
Yeah,
some of his delivery there could have been improved a little bit, but in the parts, and I think if he had continued, he really would have perfected that a lot. But in the parts that are really necessary, where he does have to be this very human version of the character, whether it's the ending or the loves, because the movie really is a love story, or in those love story moments, he works. He's great. Like he really uniquely made that part his. Uh, it was nice to see him get a lot of respect too.
yeah. I mean, because Connery was a lot colder as Bond,
Yeah, yeah, hmm
obviously. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And as we know, Roger Moore was more tongue in cheek, lifted the eyebrow, and which I love Roger Moore. And
I do too.
Live and Let Die is one of my favourites.
Yeah, Live and Let Die is
I
great.
can
Spy Who
watch that.
Loved Me. Yeah, Spy Who
Yeah.
Loved Me is
Oh,
great. I
yeah. I love
think
the theme tune of Spy Love Me as well.
I don't think that there's a bad Bond. I think that
No.
each one works perfectly for the kind of Bond movies they're in. I think Roger Moore is perfect for the kinds of movies that he did. I think that Lazenby was great for what he did. Connery for sure. Like if you're talking just straight up cool man's man, that's what you want to strive to be, then Connery's great. Like no one this is I got halfway through that. I'm like, this sounds like I'm making a reference, which would be a bad one because this is a Roger Moore reference. And I'm like, no one does that better than
Yeah.
Sean Connery. Timothy Dalton was perfect as that very cold James Bond. Like you believe that guy's an assassin. Um, Brosnan was good for being kind of a mix of a lot of different Bonds. Like
Yeah.
he pulled that off well. Craig I thought was very good. So like all of them I liked. I think that they worked suitably very well in all of their movies.
We'd had a vote because we'd done a James Bond episodes or last year, the year before, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a vote, and our favourite Bond was Timothy.
I can see it. Yeah. I got friends who he's their favorite. Oh, and I get it. I love Timothy Dalton. Um, man, it would have been cool if he did more.
Exactly.
If he
Could
did
you
more than
imagine if
two.
he would have been possibly, seen as one of the greatest Bonds? Because I
Yeah.
know at the time people would have been, what I mean? But I always read, especially License to Kill, it's just so hard edged.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's License to Kill is great. It's this cool, like, personal revenge story. It's almost even got this kind of like Robert Davi is kind of a Miami Vice villain in it,
That's it.
and
Yeah,
it's awesome. I love that it is this personal revenge story in a Bond universe.
that's it. And it was the first one it was the highest rated one at the time, which it got a 15 in the UK, and there were always PG
Right.
ones.
Yeah, because in the States it had to be trimmed to get a PG-13, but now when you watch it, it is like it's still a PG-13, but the copy of it that we have now
Yeah,
is what they originally gave an R back in '89. Um, for there was that implosion scene where the guy explodes inside of that was it that pressure chamber, whatever that
yeah.
was. Uh, yeah, I think that was like one of the things that got it an R.
Going down the old men behind the sunroof.
What's that?
They went down the whole men behind the sun.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The Men Behind the Sun. Yeah, just
Yeah.
see like blow up out of his ass.
Could you imagine that in a Bond film? Jesus Christ.
There was
But
one
yeah,
because I love the Bond knockoffs too. There was one I did an episode on. It was Her Majesty's Top Gun. It was from the 70s. Was it 70s? 70s or late 60s? I can't remember. But it had a secret agent in there who his gimmick is he has two magnums. So he's using these two magnums, like spinning them and everything. And like there was looked like nothing convenient about that in any way, shape, or form.
oh, but I've
Was
not
Bond.
seen that one. It didn't. Was it Connery's brother
Oh,
done
that
a?
was Operation Kid Brother or
That's it. Yeah,
Operation Double 007. It would have been that one. It's kind of a slog, like, but I wish he wasn't. It would have been cooler if we heard his actual voice in that, like, because he's dubbed in it,
yeah.
and it doesn't sound anything like he's got a dubbed voice, and that kind of takes away from the gimmick a bit. That it's a voice that sounds nothing like Neil Connery.
Yeah. I've seen it years ago, but I've not seen it for a long, long time. Might have to track it down and give it a rewatch.
I mean,
Um,
it's kind of like it has its moments, but you're probably better off just watching the Mystery Science Theater version.
oh well, I'll dig that out. See, we never got anything like that over here.
Hmm.
So as soon as I got the internet, I started tracking down what I could find and watching them
Oh
because
yeah,
we just never got it.
yeah.
We
We
didn't get
did.
we never really had horror hosts.
Oh, okay. I guess I never thought about that being kind of an American thing.
It's a big.
Horror hosts aren't big out there.
We had one, and that was in the night. I think there was maybe two. I think Sky TV had one, and the
Hmm.
BBC had one. Doctor Terror.
It's weird.
Um,
Like, uh, I hear they're. I mean, I'm in like Svengoolie land here. I'm in the Midwest,
mm,
so we see a lot of Svengoolie around here. But yeah, like horror hosts, they're still pretty big here, especially after Joe Bob came back with Last Drive-In. Like
for
that's
Shudder. I watched that on Shudder.
yeah, yeah. Streaming has made that like more wildly that concept kind of more widely available too. It is funny like how there are some things that like a lot of us here don't know. Like I remember I reviewed this was a long time ago. This was I don't know, maybe it was like 2010. Uh I reviewed that pilot from over there from Sky. Heil Honey, I'm Home. I reviewed Heil Honey, I'm Home. And I always knew about that. Like I that was why I picked it as an episode, because I'd heard of it before. But so it aired, so the copy of it I had the ending credits for what aired before it. And it was showing the ending credits to Dad's Army. And
Oh,
I know what that is now, but at the time I didn't. Like, because that didn't, if it got aired here, it was on a channel I
oh,
didn't watch. So
so
I
good.
oh yeah, I've seen it since, and yeah, totally. But when I did that episode, I was like, oh, and then there's ending credits for something playing right now. And so people
Who do you think you're kidding, sir?
yes,
If you
people in
think
the
all England's done.
people in the comments are like, that's Dad's Army. Like, they're like, so when I did a remake of that episode, I made sure to put that in there. I'm like, oh, it's Dad's Army, by the way.
Oh, I mean, Dad's Army is one of those pure British comedies, which is as
Yeah.
much it's still watchable now as it was when it was first on, and it's been one of those shows that's just repeated since it was on in the 60s, and
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah.
still to this day on some of the channels. You'll get Dad's
Hmm.
Army on the BBC or on the Sky Dave and stuff like that. It's just fantastic show.
Oh
Proper,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
proper silly British comedy.
I grew up with so here there was a lot that would, like, a lot of that would be on PBS. I don't know if Dad's Army ever aired on PBS, but if it did when I was a kid, I guess it would have been on that channel, on channel 12 here. So that was how I saw a lot. I did grow up with Monty Python because they aired that all the time. They aired that all the
Yeah,
time on channel 12
just
here.
brilliant, funny,
Oh yeah,
excellent.
yeah. Hmm. I was when I was in my 20s, we were big coupling fans. I still love the show. I went back and I hadn't watched it in, like, I guess it's near 20 years since the fourth season, but I hadn't seen it in a while. We used to watch it a lot when it was first on, because that would air here. But I my wife hadn't heard of it before, so I was like, "Oh, you would really like this." So I put on, hadn't seen it in a long time, and I was like, "This still holds up. This is really fun."
It was described, you know, at the time it came out, it was described as the British Friends in the
Pretty
British press.
much. It's yeah, it's like a good cross of like Friends and Sex and the City, kind of like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh
No,
it's kind of got Sex and the City type. You're not exactly, but some of the scenarios a little bit. Um or maybe maybe it's the raunchiness I'm thinking of. So it's got that, but the dynamic is certainly, three guys, three girls, very friends like.
oh yeah, and it was big at the time. I'm trying to think what other British TV shows did you ever get to watch?
Not a lot.
Because we get a lot of
Faulty
American stuff
Towers.
classic.
Faulty Towers they would show on Comedy Central back then, so I would see that on there. Not a lot. Like, I grew up in Springfield, Illinois, so it was really a lot of the ones you would think of as the ones that we would get. Like I said, Monty Python and stuff like that. Doctor Who didn't. I guess it probably aired here, but it just wasn't on my radar when I was a kid.
No,
Uh, because I mean, well, and this is well before it had its, like, that relaunch that it had, but it wasn't really on my radar a lot when I was young. So there might have been some channels that aired it, but I probably didn't know what it
yeah.
was really.
I mean, we did get a lot of American stuff. You know
You
what I
did
mean?
get a lot of American.
Oh God, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
You know, a lot. If it was a big show in the States, we got it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like
You know, even
Cheers
some of
and
the Cheers,
yeah.
Frasier,
Oh hell
Friends,
yeah.
um, you know, Big Bang, um, Oh, I'm trying to think some of the
My mother the
um
car.
pardon what?
I'm
My
kidding.
mother the
Oh, you
no,
don't know?
this not
I'm
that
kidding.
one.
You don't know My Mother the Car? That was a '60s show. That was with
Oh.
Jerry Van. It was with Jerry Van Dyke, where his mom's reincarnated into a car, and it's it's not considered to be a classic here. I did an
we
episode.
got we got we got obviously we talk sixties and seventies. We've got the Adams Families, the Munsters, Cast,
Oh, sure.
54, Where Are You?
Oh,
Happy
yeah.
Days, The Vernon Show,
Hmm.
um, Joni Loves Chachi.
Oh, you got Joni Loves Chachi?
We got Joni Loves Chachi as well. Um, Mr. Merlin, which I
Yeah.
absolutely adored growing up, which we just referenced recently in a podcast
Hmm.
because the actor was in one of the films we were talking about. Lost Boys, that was it. And I'm trying to think. We've got all the Marty Croft stuff as well.
Oh, Sid and Marty Croft stuff.
Sid and
Yeah.
Marty Croft stuff. We've got a lot of
Hmm.
that. We didn't get Land of the Lost though, but we've got a few of the other bits and bobs that I can remember watching when I was a kid that just randomly appear, and you'd be like, "What is this bizarre shit I'm watching?"
Oh,
Even when I was 6 or 7 year old.
that's what it was for me too. If I saw it, like it'd be like and like randomly, like I would maybe randomly catch something like that on television. I did this was a couple of years ago, but it was fun to do. I did like 4 episodes, and I usually do like a musical month. It's typically in September, and I picked four like post Hard Day's Night, like British rock movies, like ones that like people kind of forgot about. So I did there was a Herman's Hermits movie. Where there was a few of them, but the one that I did, it was like they come into possession of a they inherit a greyhound, a racing greyhound,
Right? I don't. I'm
who
not,
whose the name of the greyhound is Mrs. Brown. So the name of the movie is Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely
got a
Daughter. So
lovely daughter.
it's like confusing because like, wait, is the song about a dog? Like, and I did. There was the worst was there was a Freddy and the Dreamers movie where they
The
play
worst.
yeah, it's called the Cuckoo Patrol, where they play they're in charge of like a Boy Scout troop. Like it's the kind of movie where they say, "What's the worst that could happen?" They say that a lot in the movie. Um I
Oh
did
man.
the Jerry and the Pacemakers movie. Um which was okay. So the Jerry and the Pacemakers movie, I all the music I grew up with, like so like the soundtracks of all these I was loving because it's music I grew up with. The
Yeah.
Jerry and the Pacemakers movie is kind of just like a rip on Hard Day's Night. Like it's kind of a lot of aspects of that are in this. So
Yeah.
I was reviewing it, and I'm taking my notes. I'm like, this is kind of playing along like a normal movie like this. I'm like, it's kind of, it's not the best made movie in the world, but whatever. Then in the last half hour, Jimmy Savile pops up in it.
Now
So,
then, now then, how's about this?
oh,
Me and you
well,
are gonna
here
go
you
and
go.
see a couple of 12 year olds. See, I wrote to Jimmy Fix It as a kid.
Did you really?
I wrote to every child I know, every one of my mates wrote to Jimmy Fix It.
Yeah.
You know what I
Jimmy,
mean? Jim,
yeah.
can you fix it for me to play with my 12-year-old sister? He'll have been right there. I
You
need
want to
an
talk?
extra file.
You want? Yeah. You want to talk about like people like not knowing who certain people are in other countries. That was kind of the case here. Like I didn't know who that was till that happened. So, so
Oh, shit. So I bet you when you Googled that much, you were like, what?
I go, well, I knew who he was when I watched the Jerry and the Pacemakers movie because that was only like 2 years ago, but I didn't know who he was until that news in the loosest sense of the term like broke. Like so, and I think that was kind of the case with a lot of people here. I remember the Daily Show had a bit about it. Uh, so a lot of us here were kind of like, well, this is a hell of a way to first find out who this is. Like,
Man was a national treasure.
oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Complete, everybody adored
Yeah.
Jimmy Savile.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
It's
I mean?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. He was like I guess if you crossed Dick Clark with like Cosby, I guess, and I don't even mean scandal wise. I mean just like kind of in general.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
completely. And I know who Dick Clark is, and I know obviously Cosby because we got Cosby
Oh
Show
yeah, yeah,
over
yeah.
here,
Uh-huh.
and the Cosby Mysteries, and
See, yeah, 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 the Cosby Mysteries. So
and Fat Albert.
when when Savile popped up in the Jerry and the Pacemakers movie, I was like, well, now suddenly I have a lot of material to work with. There was
Britain's
there,
most prolific
dude,
paedophile. Fuck.
so fucking like
Ah,
there's a
you know, I'm
part.
going to email you a link to a song all about Jimmy and it's
Oh,
a
I want to hear
Christmas
it.
song as well.
Oh, of course it is. Oh, I'll listen to that, dude. There's a part in the pacemaker. The name of the movie is Ferry Cross the Mersey. Like, there's a part where because the whole climax is a like a music contest, so that's so Jimmy's like hosting it. That's how he factors into it. So there's a part where one of the bands is performing and they're all dressed like him, like they all come out in like the big white like hair and everything and like dress like him, and I'm like, oh, unfortunate. Like,
Now then, how's about that? Bring me a 6-year-old. I'm feeling frisky. Oh, horrible. Being honest to God. But we all adored him and we all wanted to be on Jimmy Fix.
oh
So
yeah,
when you find
yeah.
that out, you're like,
Mm.
Jesus Christ, did I just miss out brilliantly
freaking
there?
freaking mind blown. And I remember like, when the Cosby thing broke, I remember hearing, I don't know if this is the case with you, but like I remember hearing whispers about that, like well before like it blew up. Like
No, I hadn't heard anything until Hannibal Buress decided to go. Cosby's known for raping and drugging women in his comedy
I
stand-up
had
routine.
a little like because I remember there being like a news tease about it like in the early or mid 2000s or something like that, and then it just kind of went away. So I remember kind of thinking like, well, I guess nothing came of that. And then the Burris thing happened, it blew up from there. So I was like shit, I guess that's all true.
So, along with the Jimmy Savile thing, do you know about the Gary Glitter thing?
That I did, yeah, because
And they were good friends in the '70s as
I
well.
did. I saw that interview where he was talking about that. Like, well, he wasn't. He wasn't. He was just reading it. Like, I saw that. Like, so Gary Glitter, yeah, because Savile wasn't on any programs here in the States, so
No, so
it's believable that not a lot of us here had kind of heard of him back then. Gary Glitter, on the other hand, Rock and Roll Part 2 was a big song, especially in sports stadiums. Like every sporting event you went to, Rock and Roll Part 2 would be playing. Like, so he was known here. So when that broke and everything, yeah, we all knew who he was. We're Jesus. Is he in jail? Is he or is he
I think
out?
he is because he kind of gets out, then gets caught for fiddling some young boy in Thailand.
Yeah, it goes to Vietnam or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and and then gets put back in jail, and then you know, but you know, gets caught for handing his computer over to Curry's to get his PC World to get his PC cleaned, and then it's just full of pedo filth.
Dude,
That's how he got caught. He
you
handed
gotta
his
just stay in
computer over
jail.
to get it cleaned, and then got caught, and it was like, and he glittered. Oh,
Man, Well, I mean, Rock and Roll Part 2 is a pretty good song, at least.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No one's that. You know what I mean?
keep
You know,
keep that man in jail. Jesus Christ.
I'm lucky as well. I got to rewatch. You'll have heard of the show Top of the Pops
I did
because
later.
of the
Yeah.
Jimmy thing.
Yeah, it was because of that. Yeah.
One of the channels, oh God, back in about 2004, 2005, started re-showing all Top of the Pops from like 76.
Yeah.
So I managed, so Jimmy was in a few of those, but now they'll never get re-shown. So I managed to see some of the old episodes
Before
before they
yeah.
get skipped. And anything with Jimmy is now persona non grata.
Sounds like what oh here it was like American Bandstand, like that same type of show. But yeah, no, I think there's some like digital networks that still show like Cosby reruns. I don't know. I think there are
You
like
know,
is some of the channels still kind of
Fun Pops.
not on like basic cable or anything like that, but I think maybe if you got like a dish or something, like you might find
Yeah,
it on
pick
there.
it up somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy. No, man. Sex scandals in the stars. My God, you know what can you say? Uh, so, I mean, have you watched much kind of British horror? Not the normal Hammer, Tygon, and stuff like that. More of the. Have you seen I Bought a Vampire Motorcycle?
No, a lot of the British ones I go a Hammer for sure. I gotta get ready
Yeah,
to
I
scoot.
know.
I gotta get ready to scoot here before too long because I can
No
hear Jack.
problem. No problem.
I can hear Jack in the other room.
If you want,
But
we can wrap things up.
yeah, sure, totally. Like I a lot of the Christopher Lee stuff I did that got aired a lot here.
Yeah.
Ow, what's God, I'm trying to remember. What some of them were back then. But no, Dracula AD 1972. That used to get
Classic
shown a
film.
lot. Like it's great. That and Satanic Rites of Dracula was always really easy to find. Like because it was I don't know if it went into public domain or if it was just cheap to show a lot of places. But
It did
Satanic,
because it used to be available on YouTube for years as
yeah.
Dracula and his Vampire Brides.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like that one and AD 72 were like widely available.
Brilliant. I mean, Hammer's just so good. We're doing a Dracula rough guide to the Hammer Draculas
Yeah.
in the next few weeks. So I'm looking forward to do that. But
Curse of the
as
Werewolf's
you,
pretty cool because it's got Oliver Reed in it.
Ollie Reed, man, oh, he
Yeah.
used to get stitched up on some shows, some
I,
British shows
oh,
that he pissed out of his skull.
I've seen those.
Oh,
I've seen those clips, man. Like
oh, baby,
just
I'm the
shit,
wild one.
just fucking shit based on talk
Yeah,
show. Oh man, TV used to be great.
coming out on stage, smashed out of his skull, singing "Born to Be Wild" was the one he sang on one show with
He
a
was
leather jacket
amazing.
on, beard, and smashed. Fantastic, Ollie.
Yeah, it's great television.
His book, is it Evil Spirits or something like that? It's
Hmm.
called his biography. Worth a read.
I would totally do
It's
that. Yeah,
insane.
I'd get that. I absolutely would.
Yeah, it's not a thick book. I can remember reading it back in the early 2000s, and it's just absolutely insane.
Yeah,
You
I'll
know, Ollie
bet.
Reed was a
Yeah.
legend.
Hmm.
You know what I
He
mean?
was,
But
yeah.
anyways, we'll let you get on, Brad. It's been lovely. Stick around once I sign off, and I'll have a quick word with you. But
Yeah,
it's been
then I
lovely
gotta
having
go
you
pretty
on.
quick.
Yeah, that's it. It's been absolutely lovely having you on. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
I hope you've
Anytime.
enjoyed it.
Oh, I did. That was a lot of fun.
Excellent. So I'll say good night and God bless. Thank you all for listening, and this will be up on YouTube very soon. So thank you. Good night.